Hey, all right guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do an oil change on my 24 Renegade Enduro with a 900 ace turbo. We're going to have a look at the chain case oil and change it out. We're also going to try and top up our antifreeze, so let's go ahead and have a look at the products that we're going to use today. And I got a special trick for you Gen 5 guys. Stick around. All right guys, so let's have a look at some of the products that we're going to use today. I'll put the SKUs in the description below. I really like to use the XPS products. Honestly, when you buy the oil change kit for your 900 ace turbo or regular 900 ace or even turbo R, you get exactly the amount of oil that you need. You get the O-rings for the plugs, you get the filter, everything comes in the box. We'll do a little unboxing of that to show you. We're also gonna add coolant to our coolant bottle. One thing to always check into, and of course I'll put the SKU in the description, but there are 3 levels of coolant with XPS products, BRP products. My sled happens to use the red coolant. I've actually checked with my dealer, and when they installed, when they built the sled brand new, they put in the red. Some people have orange, not orange, sorry. Some people have pink, and other people use green. But for my specific Skidoo, and I think most 900 aces, they're using the red premium. And we're also going to use synthetic gear oil by XPS. XPS, synthetic gear oil. When you are checking your chain case oil, it's always good to use a good premium product. So you know what? For the extra money that it costs to buy the XPS products, and I mean, across the board for the 3 of them, you could probably save about 10 bucks by buying aftermarket products, but why not just use the products that Skidoo recommends? Let's unbox the oil change kit and have a look what's inside. All right guys, so let's go ahead and open the box. All right, cool. Right on top, we've got the XPS premium filter. It's all metal, as you can see. It just slides right into the bowl like that. Good, very nice. A liter of oil, another liter of oil, a couple of liters of oil. They even actually provide it right down to just like a small little 473 ml bottle. So I mean, the oil that you're gonna put in your sled is gonna use exactly this amount, not the antifreeze, but exactly this amount. Lastly, in the box, we have the gasket for the cap on the oil filter, and we have the 2 little O-rings that go on the 2 drain plugs. It is absolutely important that you change out those O-rings in the drain plug. We're gonna touch on that when we get there. All right guys, so we've got the sled up on the lift. Let's open up the panel, take it off. If we can with one hand. Right, just set that down. Got a cool little lift today. So we need to basically unbutton this, unbutton that, and then, yeah, you can't see it. It's terrible. But I got a better way for you Gen 5 guys. All right guys, so we're gonna go ahead and lower the sled. It's just not gonna work out at the height that we're at. For the oil pan, give me a little second here. All right, that should do it. Let's drop the oil and get started. So let's have a look at the tools that we're gonna need today. Obviously, we need something to lay on. We're getting on the floor. Whenever I touch oils, I always put on some surgical gloves, paper towels. So we've got 2 drain plugs, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So we're going to need a T30 torque bit. I put it on a ratchet to make life easier, and we're going to use the number 7 Allen key, and I put on a small ratchet as well. So let's get under the sled, let's get her opened up, and let's show you what we got. All right guys, so I'm under the sled. I'm on the left-hand side of the sled, and we're going to use our T30 just to loosen these off. So basically, there's a little window right here. Under this window, you're going to find your two drain plugs. So, well, still a little tough there. I'm just going to take that bolt out and move it aside and get out of this one. Now, what I do is I just loosen this off because we can just push this window over to the side. You don't really need to take it off. You can if you want, obviously. But now we've revealed our two drain plugs. I know you can see the small one, but immediately is the big one over here. So we're going to use our T30 here and our Allen key there. Don't forget to have some paper towel just kind of kicking around, you know, in case you get a little spillage. So let's go ahead and get the big one off first. Don't forget that when you're taking them off, they're going in the opposite direction, right? All right, guys, so now that we have that window open, we're gonna start with our Allen key drain plug, which is the first one. It's the biggest one. Just gonna crack that seal. There we go. And then we can take this off and do it by hand. So get ready because the oil is going to come out of there. You'll know when you're at the end of the drain plug, but it's going to flow. And there it goes. All right. So step one done. We're going to let that drain out of there, and then we're going to take the smaller plug out right after. All right, guys, so while that's draining, this is my first oil change on my 24 Renegade Enduro with the 900 Ace, and I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of oil close up for you guys. Not bad. So I've got 1,000 kilometers on here. I actually should have done the oil maybe 300-400 kilometers ago, but not bad at all. I'm pretty happy with it. There's no filings or anything on the drain plug, so I think we're going to be pretty good with that. We'll just let that continue to drain, and then we're going to take off the other plug. All right, guys, so we got the other side loosened off. We're going to pull that plug out too. I guess I should let it finish, but I always leave my plugs off until after I get out the oil filter, just to let really everything drain. But I think I'm making a mess here, so I'm watching out. So we got both plugs out now. Always remember that washer. That washer has to be replaced. If you remember, in our kit, we have new washers that have to be added. So it looks like the washer is missing on the other bolt, and we're gonna have to pull that off up there. Yeah, I see it in there. So we'll let this drain out, and then we'll get that other washer off. All right, guys, on the right-hand side of Gen 4, Gen 5, you've got your panel. We're just gonna pull that panel back to access the oil filter. I'm just gonna put you up here for a second. So you just give this a good little yank, and off she comes. And then you've got two red plugs. We're just gonna pull those out like that. And this way, we're gonna be able to have access to our oil filter, which is in the back there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right down there. So the little trick I'm going to show you today is, could you imagine working in here with your T30, trying to mess around with that? So for you Gen 5 guys, I've got a cool trick that you're really going to like. All right guys, so on the Gen 5, Skidoo has made it so easy to take the hood off. We're just gonna take this piece off. Be very careful not to break the clips. And removing the hood is really simple. You take out this silver bolt, and you'll unclip both of these wires. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm sorry I forgot to mention in the beginning, you will need your T26 hex to get these bolts off. So we're just gonna loosen them off real quick. Just unlock that one and then, okay. So what we're gonna do is we're just going to loosen them off real quick for you. What I do with these bolts is I take them out of here and I stick them right in my pocket. You could use a little tray. That would be a great thing too. I actually do that quite a bit when I'm working with a lot more bolts. But you know, for the Gen 5 hood, there's literally 4 bolts, and undo your air intake and it slides right off. So we got those 2 bolts out. Let's just see if we can get these out nice and easy. There's a little clip there. That's one. 2. Let me bring you around to the other bolts. All right, so again on the right hand side, you'll see that little silver bolt in there that needs to come off. All right, so on the other side, we're just gonna pop off the other panel as well. You don't necessarily need to, but we're going to. Let me just put you up here for a second. Again, you just give it a little nudge. It'll come out. And you'll put that aside. So on the other side, guys, you're just gonna get a regular flathead screwdriver. Unloosen your air intake just a bit. And that should just, you know, pop off by hand. Keeping in mind it's brand new, it's never been off before. But there we go. That should be good enough. And the last bolt is right here. And your whole hood is gonna come off when you take this bolt out. Just loosen off. And it comes out. Don't forget to put your fingers underneath that bolt. You don't want to lose it down there. If you lose it, there goes an hour. Looking to find it. Of course, because this is the first time I take the hood off, this bolt is, there we go. So pretty simple, just reach in, keep it in your fingers, you don't want it to fall out. And the next step is gonna be just pull the hood straight off. All right guys, so what you wanna do is come up on the front of your sled, lift a little bit while pulling, and she'll come right off. You don't need to take off the windshield. You don't need to take off anything else. But what happens is now you can work on that filter easily. It's right there. At the same time, you can check all around your motor, fill up your antifreeze, which we're gonna do today. So let's get cracking. Let's get the oil filter out of there. You're gonna see how quick and easy it is. All right guys, so as you can see, like we got lots of space to work with our hands now. I've got some paper towels ready to go, so I'm just gonna break off 1 or 2 of those right away so that they're real handy right close by. We're gonna go back to our T30. We're gonna go in and just loosen that off. I'm gonna be able to take them off by hand after, but just to break the seal. See, so much easier, I have to tell you. All right, now that we've got them all loosened off, we should be able to get in there by hand for the rest of them. And that we are able to do. Before I do that, I do want to get my little tray because we're going to put those nuts in there just so that we don't have any mix-ups or foul-ups. As I was telling you, when I was taking off the hood, I usually put all the hood screws right in my pocket so I know exactly where they are. So we'll just get these off. One big thing to remember, like I showed you in the beginning of the video, is to just let the sled warm up for 30-40 seconds, maybe even a minute or two, whatever really tickles your fancy, as they say, just to get that oil heated up and get any shards that are kicking around out of the engine. There's another way. You could always pour a half a liter into the engine once all the oil's drained, just to flush out anything else. There's some guys that do that. I don't necessarily do it. All right, so we've got the 3 bolts off. Now we're just gonna pop off the cap like that. Nice and easy. We can take one of our rags and just kind of clean that 2 seconds quickly, and then set that aside just so it doesn't drip anywhere, right? So we'll just set it right down there. And now more oil is going to come out of the pan. So we're going to take another little serviette towel and just go in there and pop off the filter. Now when you pop the filter off, just lift it up and let it drain a little bit, just to get anything out of there and out of the way. And then what I do is with my left hand, I'll take a little rag and I'll come straight up and right into the rag. This way, there's no chance of anything dripping anywhere. So we're gonna set that aside too. And for the moment, we'll just stand it up right here, nice and easy. And take another paper towel. And we'll just kind of, clean it up a little bit, because we'll be putting that filter back in. So we'll just let that drain a little more, and then we'll start putting the filter and everything back together. Okay guys, so in our little packet from the XPS oil change kit, we had that rubber gasket and 2 other washers. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the rubber gasket, dip our finger in a little bit of oil, and I just like to go around a bit like that. You can do it on the ring itself with your fingers. Just go around, just nice and easy like that, and then just kind of seat it back into position, putting the old ring aside. We're going to do the same thing for our main drain plug. Make sure the ring goes back on, and don't forget to take both rings off your sled if they didn't come with it. As you can see on both of mine, the ring did not come back with it, so they're still stuck on the sled. When we put them back together, we want to make sure that both these rings are off of the sled. So now I just take a little rag, pick up that little bit of extra oil that was kicking about in there, no big deal. You can clean this with some brake cleaner, or you can just take a little Scott towel like that, or a rag, whatever, and we're good to go. All right guys, so we're going to put our oil filter in. You can always put a little bit of oil around there if you'd like, but what we want to do is just go back in there and seat it in. Give it a little push so that it's on nice and tight. You'll be able to feel it. We're going to take cap, make sure that your rubber gasket is on there. I'm going to put that back on, and then we'll put each bolt on by hand, and then we'll just torque it down. Now, the manual says you need to torque this down to 10 pounds, which we're going to do. Don't forget to do it on your side. You will need a torque wrench, obviously. And then we're going to be pretty much done with the oil and filter, and we'll be able to button up down below and add our oil, give it a start. And like I said to you before, while we have the hood off here, I'm gonna just add a little bit of antifreeze. I'm gonna check the level to make sure. I mean, it is a spring kind of check. You can do it in the fall, you can do it in the spring. I'll just lock these down a little, then I'll get my torque wrench. Just do this by hand for now. Let's see how much easier it is. And I mean, if I had the better tools, this would have been done already. If, like, for example, a ratchet extension. It's on my Christmas list, but all right. All right, guys, while we're here, we're gonna fill up the antifreeze. So it's done about there, and cold starting line is there. It's quite indicated, it's not a problem. So we're just gonna pour our antifreeze in there, nice and easy, and bring her up to the line. All right. It's about right. All right, so let's just tighten them down first by hand. And then we're going to tighten down with our torque wrench down to 10 pounds and close up the cap. So now that we've got it all torqued in, the last thing we need to do is just close out that little window. Like that. Okay. Put that last screw in and we'll be done on this project. All right, guys, all that's left to do is button her up, put the hood back on, pump the oil in, and then we'll get started on that chain case. So putting the hood back on is really simple. We're gonna lift it up exactly where we picked it off. We're gonna slide it right on, easy like that. Put the two sides in place and push up. And we're on. All we gotta do is put the bolts back together, plug it up, and we're good to go. So I'm gonna just leave you on the time lapse and enjoy. All right, make sure these are plugged in good. Get your T30 out. So first, plug those two in, start your bolts, and we're going quick. Don't forget to make sure your air box is on good. Screw on the left side. I always like to start it by hand. I hate dropping screws down into the sled. A real pain in the neck to fish that out. So I mean, as you can see, it is so easy to take the hood off on a Gen 5. I don't know why you would work on it without taking the hood off, to be honest with you. I found it just so easy to just get in there and, you know, 4 or 5 screws and it's off. Easy to put on, easy to take off. Why would you mess up your hands and everything else? Now we'll do the other side. I like to just put the bolt in my hand like that. You'll get it. Just get her started by hand. Don't cross thread either. All right, guys, so we're gonna add the oil now. On the left-hand side of your sled, just remove the panel, pull out the dipstick, and set it aside. And we're gonna add 3 whole liters right away. What I do is I add 3 liters and then I start the sled up just to circulate the oil, and then I'll add in the last 500 mils and double check it to make sure that we have enough oil. But it's usually pretty bang on. That's why they sell this kit. I can't talk about this kit enough. This kit is really awesome. All right, so we've got 3 liters in. Let's check where we're at. Of course, it's gonna say low, but we're gonna start it up. Let's give it a little test. And of course she says add, so we're just gonna add the last jug. And that's gonna do it. So it's basically 3.5 liters for the full oil change. And like I said, I absolutely love using the BRP product. It's just so much easier. You know the oil's good. But that should do it. Perfect. Give that a little wipe down. Make sure that's all clean. And that's gonna do it for the oil change. On to the chain case. All right, guys. Sorry about my shot. I got the bar for the lift in the way of the drain plug. But on your right-hand side of your sled, right under where you check the fill line, you will find this little hole with a T30 torque on it. Didn't put my gloves on. I wasn't thinking, that's for sure. But here we go. Not too bad, but my hands are nice and full of oil now. And we're going to take a look at this drain plug because there's a magnet on the end. So I'm going to leave it the way it is so that we can have a look at it in a better shot. All right, guys, so I was able to save it without it becoming all buggered up, but let's just take what's on there off. So we got some good black oil. We do have some shards, as we can see. So we're gonna have to take all that off, that magnet, just like that. But important to clean up this drain plug before you put it back on. Alright guys, so on the right hand side you'll see this spot right here. It's right next to the muffler, and in my case the hydraulic system for my air shock. And what we want to do is just get in here and pop it off, because that's where we're going to access the oil. Just pop it off and move it aside. A little scratch there, but not the end of the world. And next, we're going to want to take out another screw. So right here we have the chain case fill line. We want to take out this little screw right here. We're going to use our 30 Torx again. And be careful because it's a very small screw. So we're just going to take that out. And why we're taking this out is so that the oil can go through, and we're going to know that this is full when we start seeing oil dribbling down. So we're going to start adding some oil. Alright guys, so we're going to slowly start adding some oil. As you can see, I put a little Scott towel down there. When we start getting oil coming out of the drain plug there, not the drain plug but a plug, you'll start seeing some oil dribbling down. That's when we know it's perfectly filled. We're going to use our XPS jug. You have to put it in very slowly. It should take about 550 mils. So let's get started on adding some oil into that little spot there. So bear with me. It's going to take some time. Definitely not the easiest thing to fill up, but you got to love this squirt bottle style oil bottle. I'm going to move you over to that plug so that you'll be able to see the oil coming out. Good. Alright, there we go. We're full. Get that plug back on there. And then of course you're going to have a little bit of oil mess, so you'll just have to clean that up. Alright guys, so we got that really cleaned up the best that we can. The chain case oil really is a slow process. It's not something that you're going to do very quickly. I highly recommend you take your time. I probably wasted about, I don't know, 100 milliliters of oil because I was squeezing and watching at the same time. But that's going to pretty much do it. Just want to make sure we get all that cleaned up. We're going to wash the sled after anyway, so we'll get the rest of that oil with a bit of degreaser. Alright guys, so the last thing to do is just kind of pop this back in. Not the easiest thing to do, but hopefully we get lucky and it goes right in right away. Nope. I think you guys get the point. You just got to pop that back in. I'm probably going to need a screwdriver. Oh, there we go. Back in. I might just change out that tie wrap, but there we go. And that's going to conclude. So we're just going to put the side panels back on, clean up a little bit of this oil, and that should be done. All right guys, so I'm going to just change out this tie wrap. I'm not happy with the way this is. So we're just going to ever so carefully pop that off of there. And we're going to add a new one, hopefully. I'm going to put it nice and snug in there. Good. And then get that tie wrap around. Make sure it's all the way down. And there we go. Make sure it's good and tight. Beauty. We're done. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for today for the 2024 Renegade. We did the oil change, oil and filter. We topped up the antifreeze, and we did the chain case oil. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you would do different. I thought taking off the hood was a great idea on the Gen 5. I really hated doing the oils the year before without taking the hood off. I found that taking that hood off just changed everything for me. I don't know why. Maybe for other people it's not. Maybe it's quicker just leaving the hood on, but that was my thing. That's what I decided to do. So let me know in the comments below if there's anything that you would do different. Really would love to hear from you. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out. Have a great week. God bless. Have an awesome season. Be well.